What's it like living as a female expat in Asia? What are some of the challenges that face the parents of third culture kids? And gentlemen, if you've got a much younger girlfriend and she says she's going to love you for a long time, is that your idea of a long time, which might be, let's say, 20 years, or her idea of a long time, which might seem like 20 weeks, and she's hoping that you might secretly die in that time? Well, if those questions or anything about being an expat in Asia are of interest to you, it is great to have you with me. My name is Wendy, and for more than 3 decades, I have lived and worked in 5 different countries in Asia, and I still live and work in Asia now in Thailand. Today, I'm coming to you from a place called Caro's Way, the World of Magic, which is a dog and cat rescue near where I live. And recently, Caroline, the lady who started this particular charity, she rescued some piggies as well. So if you're in the market for a pig, if you ever see a small dog running around in the background of any of my videos, that's Helicopter. She was rescued by Caroline as well over a year ago. So she has set up, Caroline, not the dog, has set up a great sort of park area where doggies can come and be off lead and run around, and you pay for that time, and that's how they raise money. And it means that your doggo is safe from any soy dogs, any street dogs, because there are a lot of street dogs in Thailand. Today, I'm not here to talk about dogs. I'm here to talk about femininity and feminism in Asia. And this is something that affects expatriate women, even though you might not have thought about this before. Let's talk about this idea of gender roles in Asian cultures and how this affects the expatriate woman. And it does. So these are my observations after many, many years, keeping in mind that I also work in a company that has about 350 employees, and I would say 75 to 80% of those are women, and they're local women. So I work with a lot of Asian women. In Asia, in a lot of cultures, there is still this idea that a woman's role is of femininity, of softness, of giving, of kindness, of taking care of family and putting family first above other things. And that's all lovely, and that happens in our culture too. But the truth of the matter is, in a modern world, as things change and have changed in our culture, sometimes these ideas rub up against the reality of the situation. Because my reality in dealing with Asian women is that they are incredibly competent, very strong, highly intelligent, and holding up half of the sky, as women all around the world are holding up half of the sky. And they might be feminine, and they might be caring, and they might be compassionate, but they're also independent and self-earning and have worth outside of that feminine role. So how does this affect the expat in Asia? Well, it does, because when I first moved to Thailand over 10 years ago, when I explained to my colleagues that I was a parent and my children are adults, their questions were things like, are your children, who are adults, going to come and live with you? Why don't you live with your children? Aren't you worried that you're by yourself? Wouldn't it be safer if they came and took care of you? And do they send you money? Now, the answer to all of those questions is no. And they were asking me because for them, seeing somebody my age, and now I'm in the later end of my 50s, out here doing this thing by myself seems a little bit odd to them. It's not that they're not capable of doing that, but in their culture, it's a little bit different. It's unexpected. And this kind of concern is perfectly lovely, and I think it's really nice, and it comes from a very good place, but it does sometimes feel a little bit as if I'm being infantilized. And I know that I'm not, because I know that these people mean very well, but you might feel this too as an expat woman. You might feel to yourself, hey, I can do all of these things by myself. I don't need anybody to help me with this stuff. I know what I'm doing. I've got myself organized. And you can feel a little bit insulted. And I understand why. I know where you're coming from with that. But there's no real point in feeling insulted by that, because it's just a culturally different thing. So, as I said, in my own experience, working with women who are incredibly capable, very good salaries, distinctly middle class in this society, highly qualified. But if mum gets sick, even if she's got 4 brothers who live closer to mum, she's still expected to come off work and go and help in the house because that's what girls do in that culture. That can be very, very frustrating for the people who live inside that culture. They understand the rules, but for us, we find those rules a little bit archaic. We find those rules a little bit old-fashioned. Not to say that those rules don't exist in our culture as well, but for us, that seems a little bit odd in 2025. And to be honest, a lot of those people also find it a little bit odd and hard to deal with. But what are they going to do? It's a part of their culture. Now, this affects expat women because in the last 10 to 15 years, I have seen an incredible uptick in the number of solo women traveling and living throughout Southeast Asia, whether they're younger digi-nomads still in the workforce or working remotely, or they're my age, or they're older and they're retired. There's a ton of solo women out there who are living in Asia as expats, as a lifestyle choice. We've talked about this before on the channel about safety and the fact that in Asia it does feel incredibly safe, and there's something to be said for that. And you can reinvent yourself, that's another great thing, and you can just live the lifestyle that you want to in an expatriate enclave or in a community that isn't watching you as carefully and as judgmentally as other places are. But that's not to say that you're not being watched. And for we feminist solo, out there kind of independent women, we find that hard. We rub up against it. But it's just a difference in culture. And sometimes, and it's true, as an expat woman, sometimes somebody might treat you as if you're a little bit incompetent, sort of help you with things that you think, I can do this myself. I don't need your help at all. Please don't take offense at that. Nothing is really meant by it. It's just a difference in understanding. We know that we've done a lot of hard work to get to where we are, and we're happy to be solo and we're happy to be doing all of these things. And yet in Asian cultures, that is seen as a little bit odd or a little bit out there still. Now, it's not all Asian cultures, and obviously anybody who knows Asian women know that they're competent and hardworking and holding up half of the sky, just as women are right across the planet. But it is true that in a lot of families in Asia still, girls have a particular role and boys have a particular role, and the girl role is often this soft, gentle caretaker role. And so when people who are used to that culture see solo expat women, particularly over a certain age, they worry, and they also aren't sure exactly how that's working. But my encouragement to you is don't get upset by that. If that does happen to you, if you hear a sort of a strange comment, take it very graciously and say, thank you very much for your concern. Everything is fine. You know as an expat woman, particularly if you're around my age group, you're probably not looking for a partner at this point. So, you're sexually invisible anyway, and you're feeling, that's great. You're feeling absolutely fine. You're perfectly safe where you're living. You're living in these places because it is safe for you to live there, and you feel that there's nothing is going to touch you. So don't let the fact that someone thinks that you need help getting up the stairs, even though you're 45 and you don't need help getting up the stairs, or they want to help you out in some way because, you're older and you're a woman. Don't get upset by that, all right? It's just a cultural difference that I think is very hard for Asian women to deal with at the moment, particularly as things are getting more and more modern. So have sympathy for our sisters. Be kind to them as well. Talk to them about it. Ask them what it's like, the gender roles in their family. I think you'll be surprised that a lot of people who are incredibly, incredibly competent still find themselves infantilized, even within their own families, and that can be really hard. So we've broken through a few glass ceilings. If you do meet women like that, particularly in some parts of Southeast Asia, be kind to them, show them strength, show them the sisterhood, be good to them, and you make sure that you take care of yourself as well and don't get upset by the small stuff. Now, if you've got any comments about that type of thing, or you've got any questions, you'd like to share this video, that would be great. If you've got comments and questions, I meant to say, please leave them in the comments section below. Do share this video as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will speak to you again soon. Have a great day. Bye.